All right. Another silly argument here has to do with the priesthood. And this is why the Catholics and Orthodox don't want you to actually read the scriptures, but if you do, they don't want you to actually believe them. Where in 1 Peter chapter 2, Peter's supposed to be the first pope, he says that we are a royal priesthood, right? And then John says the same thing. In Revelation chapter 1, he's talking to the churches and he says that you've been washed in the blood of Jesus and you've been made kings and priests unto God, right? So we are made a royal priesthood. And Paul says that the head of every man is Christ. Not the church, Christ, right? And when you go through the scriptures, you see that the priests have no problem being able to go to the scriptures and read them themselves and to understand, right? On top of that, whenever a king is anointed, Israel would make his own copy of the Torah and the Old Testament for him to read himself, right? So you actually get into the scriptures. The Catholics and the Orthodox don't want you to believe this. They want you to think that the priesthood is some separate class of people. That's not you. And they have the authority to then interpret the scriptures for you. But you see, their whole argument starts with you have to just blindly accept that they are the true church, that they have this authority before any of this. Because why would you believe their interpretation without reading it yourself? Why would you believe they are the true church and have any authority whatsoever without you proving it yourself by actually reading the scriptures to see if it's true? For example, you have two churches here, right? You got the Catholics and you got the Orthodox, right? Well, me as an outsider, how am I supposed to know which church to follow? You know what I'll do? I'll get into the scriptures and see which one follows the scriptures. How about that? But then they're like, well, wait a second. You're not part of the priesthood there. Only we can interpret it. Well, you both say only you guys can interpret it. But you both interpret, for example, Matthew 16 differently. The Catholics would say this means that Peter's the rock, while the Orthodox say no, it's Jesus that's the rock, and it's all the bishops that are actually the authority. So it's like, okay, how am I supposed to know which one to use correct then? Well, I will go and I'll read it for myself and see if any one of you line up with it. That's perfectly reasonable and logical. But you see, they want you to be like, no. Just blindly accept that one of us has the authority, and then we will tell you what it means. You just throw that Bible away, and we'll tell you everything you need to know. But it's like, no, why am I going to blindly trust you? A group of men. You're just like me. We're all sinful, and we have agendas, and we like to scheme and scam and manipulate people. So you're not any different. So I'm going to, double check, even triple check to see if you're that church. So I'm going to do that. And then when I look at the scriptures, it says that, being a Christian now, I've been made a king and a priest, being washed in the blood of Jesus. So I can go and read the scriptures myself and interpret them myself. I don't need you to do it. Just go and read this passage, for example. And then you'll understand why Philip was taken away from the eunuch after he received the Spirit. Yeah, the eunuch needed Philip's help to understand the scriptures. But then once Philip believed, the Spirit took Philip away because he's not needed anymore. Because now God is going to teach him, as we read here from John, an apostle. I'm going to follow what John taught, not what the people who came after him and what your church teaches. because John wrote about 7 churches in Revelation, and they had a lot of messed up things going on there. That sounds like these 2 groups here. So, with that being said, thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it. Take care of yourself now. I'll see you in the next one, and may God bless you and yours.